Right, we're with Mike Jones, who's actually got Joel. I'm going to show Joel quickly. Look, there he is there. So, is Joel actually a coach?
Comes down, fills the water bottles up, washes the bibs occasionally.
Well, that was Joel, by the way. He's back again. But we're with, I would imagine, a really happy well-in-town assistant manager, Mike Jones. Mike, would you say, for credit to Phoenix, I thought the first 20 minutes, 30 minutes, they stopped us imposing ourselves on them in the first half?
Yeah, I thought they were excellent. They were exactly what we expected them to be. They were very young, very hungry, very energetic. I think got in our faces, very quick to get to the ball, very quick to recover. I think it caught us a bit by surprise, the players a bit by surprise in the first half. It took us a little while to settle, good 15, 20, 25 minutes I think before we eventually sort of settled on our shape and worked out how they were playing. But yeah, very, very, very good side. Very enjoyable to watch. I thought they were. It's an excellent young side. Going to be a threat when they, if they keep those boys together. I know a lot of them will go up to the first team, but certainly an entertaining side. I think entertaining, definitely. I
thought we were just about getting in the game when we probably should have had a penalty. I think we definitely should have had a penalty. And then they've broken. 40 seconds later, we're 1-0 down. What are you thinking on the touchline when we're 1-0 down?
I've seen the replay. It's a definite penalty. I think he gets the wrong side of it. He's got his arm around him. I think the ref's in a good position for it. I think that's then we've got caught cold because we're complaining about the penalty decision where we've told guys to be professional, get straight back in, play to the whistle, all the usual cliches. They've attacked very, very quickly, and I've just said at half time the guy's unmarked in the box. It's a lovely cross, it's a good cutback, but the guy's not ghosted in, he's not made a great run, he's standing there and he's been unmarked, and I think we've had 3 or 4 defenders in the box, and it's just something I think we need to work on, that they're aware of what we're not doing and what we need to improve on. But it was a penalty for me. I've seen the replay, I'm sure we'll see on the highlights if you caught it. But we've got to learn to switch on and do our jobs, do the dirty work first before we. It's not all about scoring goals. We need to be able to track back, track runners, play to the whistle, all the basic stuff that we need to just hone in our game a bit, I think.
But having said that, to get back in the game reasonably quickly before half time, you must have been pleased with that, and it made the team talk any different being 1-0 at half time?
It did. It was a good goal. I'm pleased Murley scored because I thought he had a really, really solid game. It was tiring towards the end. I think 2 games in 2 days has taken its toll on us, especially with a few injuries. We haven't had as many options as we would have liked. But I was pleased that he got the goal. It was a good ball into the box. He showed good determination to get that in. And then I think once we've equalised. I think we've seen the half out well. I think we've tried to keep the ball, tried to keep them running, tried to keep them working, with the hope that they retire in the second half. And then I think all we said at half time is just let's go a bit more man to man, go toe to toe. Let's engage in a bit of one-on-one. Let's see where we're better than them. Let's back ourselves. And I think we did that straight from the off in the second half. Really pleased with the second half performance. Really pleased with that first 10 minutes. I thought we did it to a T. 2 great goals, lovely strike from Brownie, and the third's a good goal that I think then just takes the wind out of their sails, and then I think we kept composed after that and just saw out a very, very good second half.
I think you used the word they're determined. I thought the second half for me, that first 10 minutes, it was literally just stepped up, manned up, a little bit more physical, a little bit more purposeful, a little bit more confident, and I don't think they could handle that, could they, the first 10 minutes or so? And that was what. Is it disappointing we didn't do that early in the game, Mike?
Yeah, well, we just said as we've come off, I think 4 or 5 of the players have said, if we'd have done that in the first half, but that's, that's football, isn't it? It was nice. I think we always try to take some positives from a game and certainly learn from a lot of where we're making mistakes and negatives, but I think what I've particularly pleased with today is the way we've bounced back from not a terrible first half, but certainly not at our best by any means, and to bounce back and completely turn it around and completely raise the levels of determination and effort and just intelligence, all-round intelligence, and playing the way we want to play. I think we really imposed ourselves on them. I'm very, very pleased with the second half. Yeah, first half not so much, but it's a long game. Long game, 90 minutes.
It's always good for that season if you can go on little runs. You started the season with a great run. You're still unbeaten. You battled hard to get a point on Saturday, but to win convincingly at home off the back of that gives you a platform to now move on and try and get on another little run. Because every run you do now makes it harder for other people to keep up, doesn't it?
Yeah, and me and Dimo and Joel have sat down and set our own sort of points targets and where we expect to pick points and where we think it might be struggles and challenges, and so we're ahead of where we thought we would be at this time. So that's certainly pleasing. I think there's certainly lots for us to work on and lots for us to improve on, which again you can take the positives from that. I don't think we've clicked fully yet. I think we're still working out our best shape and our best team. But again, credit goes to the boys. I've just said as a management team, we've got to take a bit of the pressure off them. I don't think we've played the same 11 2 games running.
Is that a good thing or a bad thing, or necessity, or?
It's probably all of the above. But in terms of taking a bit of pressure off the players, we've said, look, that's our burden. If you're gelling to a position or you're trying to form a partnership, that is going to take time. So we'll take that as long as the work rate and the effort and the following the instructions is there. We'll take the rest of the blame for anything else that doesn't quite work or takes time to settle in. And maybe that was the case again today. We tried Mehmet and Daryl at fullback positions, not because we haven't looked good there, but just because we wanted to try something different, give us a bit more width, give us a bit more pace going forward. And I think that certainly came in the second half. You saw that. Eggy and Mehmet on the left, absolutely superb. And I thought Daryl grew into the game as it went on and was a real sort of foil from Sam. Sam's very, very good at playing that wide striker role. He cuts in very well, his work rate's phenomenal, and I think having him and Daryl just gives the opposition something different to think about. But it's for us as a management team to try and work out what we want from an 11 and what we want from a style of play. I think we've got a philosophy in our head. It's just gelling those players into those positions as quickly as possible. But to be unbeaten while we're working on it, it's not bad. We'll take that.
If the players took that on board and bought into that, Mike, because it's not hard sometimes if they thought they played okay, but they get sort of rested or left out, and someone else comes back in.
Yeah. I think they can see what we're trying to work on. We always try and be honest as we can be with them and constructive. There's certainly been times when I think a couple of people have been unlucky or unfortunate. There'll be times where they think they've been unfortunate, but a necessity has been needed for a change, whether it's been down to something else on the pitch or just maybe they haven't carried out the instructions quite like we needed. But I can honestly say, as a group, as a whole, they've tried to take on board everything we've worked on. They're a genuine bunch in the sense that they know what we want to do. They know when. We don't need to go in shouting. They know when they've not performed as they've needed, or they know when they've maybe not carried out the instructions quite as needed. But they want to learn, and the togetherness in the group is, I think I mentioned in the programme notes, the togetherness and the bonding that they've got as a group for a fairly new group as well. There's a lot of new players in there and a lot of players that have only been in for 6 months or 8 months, etc. It's a really, really good group. One of the best I think I've ever worked with. So I think from that side, we feel like we can certainly test them and stretch them a bit more in terms of what we're trying to work on. So I think full credit to the guys, and I think as a management team we'll keep pushing them and keep testing until we get it exactly how we want.
Right, so moving forward, training and our next game, what do we do in between now and then? Yeah,
well, thankfully I think we've got a weekend off, so I think we'll train again this week just to get the boys together, just to talk about this game. Just to get a little bit of the soreness out of the legs, and then I think they'll have a well-earned weekend off, and then I think next weekend we'll come back in, we'll hit it hard and we'll focus on what we want for Saturday's game, because there's going to be a couple more tough games left. I said when we looked at the fixtures, we'd looked at everything for August and September. We can see where we want to get points, and we can see where the challenges are going to be, and we've started to focus on those fixtures now. So I think we'll continue working on what's got us to points so far, and we'll just start honing those things where we're conceding goals, or maybe there's a few deficiencies on the pitch and stuff. But training's been enjoyable at the moment, so it's nice to be getting down and working and seeing things pay off on the pitch. Like you saw the free kick, which is my brainchild, almost came off at the end. Better strike, it would have gone in, but can only lead a horse to water, eh?
We'll talk about Lambs was not here today, and also I know Smudger's been playing with a bit of a ballooned ankle, so you must be pleased with the way he's done it. The replacements have done the way Lambs can't play.
Yeah. To lose someone like Lamar is always difficult. You can't really replace him as such. He's a unique player, as your highlights have caught a couple of times. But I think we've said a few times, and on the interviews, genuinely got a really good squad where we feel confident in the players we could pick to replace. And as we've said to some of the boys when we're resting them, it's not a case of being dropped because maybe they haven't done something. It's a case of rotating for what we think needs to win an individual game. A manager I worked with a few years ago once told me, you've just got to do what you've got to do to win that game, whether not the last game, not the next game. So I've tried to take a bit of that with our own philosophy, and we'll look at every game in its entirety, and just whether the right players for the right game at the right time, and go from there. So I was pleased with everyone that stepped in today.
Nice, decent crowd here again, Mike. But well done, back on track, or not that it was off track, but going again with the wins, a very convincing win, and we look forward to the next game.
Cheers, Tom.
Cheers, mate.